Kieran, this is Liam, that's Ross, and today we're going to present our presentation on authority. The definition of authority is its power or right to give orders, make decisions and enforce obedience. It maintains discipline and enforces rules and regulations. What is authority? Authority gives someone both the power and the right to enforce obedience. For example, an officer given the command to those of a lower rank. Authority is a big part of the public services, such as a hierarchical rank system. As you get higher up, the more power and authority you gain. The advantage of this is, advantage of authority is it can maintain obedience and keep everyone under control. But the disadvantages are, say you get someone who doesn't like taking orders, they can start to go against your word and then start to kick off. Independent Police Complaints Commission. They oversee police complaints in England and Wales, and they work independently and not with the police force. They set the standards to which the police should how the police should handle complaints. Because they're independent, they don't work with the police, but they report any findings to the government. An example of this is Hillsborough at the moment and how the police handled the situation both during and after the event. Next is the Chief Inspector of Prisons. They're an independent inspectorate which reports on conditions and treatment of those in prisons, young offender institutes and immigration detention facilities. They work with the Ministry of Justice and they also report to the government. And finally, it's the Chief Inspector of the Fire Service. They changed to the Chief Fire and Rescue Advisor in 2007. It is responsible for advising the government on all matters to do with the fire and rescue service. They handle local authority fire services to ensure they meet strict performance criteria and meet targets set by the government. They report to the Department of Communities and Local Government as well as the MOD. The Chief is responsible for advising the government on all matters concerning the fire and rescue service.
And the nature of authority. Power is the ability to direct the behaviour of others. It is usually to a situation when there is somebody unwilling to follow an order. An example of this would be a team leader in public services because they would try to show their power over a team by ordering them what to do, although it isn't illegal to say do I have to do what they say. Position is having the authority over people because of where you are and how high you are in a specific service. Higher position, more responsibility to that, so more authority over more people. So if you have to express it. For example, in both services, a sergeant would have power over a constable and would be able to tell them what to do, and they would be expected to do it, but the sergeant is higher. Status is very, very similar to position. It's the respect somebody else has in the eyes of others. It would be respect for something they've previously done. So that's like, for example, a dog handler in the public services, they're respected for being good dogs. So people will follow their orders. Corruption. Corruption is the abuse of authority and dishonest behaviour. In the police, it is considered as a form of police misconduct and could lead to losing their job. An example of this in public services would be altering the evidence in a certain case when someone is found out to lose their job. Disobedience is being disobedient and not doing what you are ordered to do. This will be very seriously treated in public services and you will get punished. The most serious punishment for this would be the loss of your job. Blind obedience would be following an order without asking any questions at all. The person who gave the order should have authority over you and you should not ask any questions. This goes in the police in an emergency situation because you have to quickly or you will not have to ask any questions. Moral dilemma is being put in a situation situation where you've got to use your morals to know what's right or wrong. An example of this is like you have to save someone in a car accident and you'd have to choose between two people, which one you've got to save. Responsibility for decisions is the person who has made a decision will have to stick to it and not change their mind. The person who makes a decision is generally the highest placed person. An example of this in public service would be if there was someone higher than you in present and the decision has to be made, they would make the decision.
And now I'm going to be talking about the different types of authority. The first one is authoritarian. This is where a leader tells a team members what has to be done, and this will be without any question. This means that decisions will be made quicker. It does not inspire teamwork, and the reason for this is that it can be a life or death situation, which should not be questioned by team members. An example of this is in the armed forces, if there's in combat, where they may need quick decisions to save lives because it's a life or death situation. The Armed Forces Discipline Act 2000 is where the armed forces enforce the rule law for people who are in the armed forces. This will stand for anywhere they are in the world, even if they are on duty or not on duty. It also deals with punishment of people who have broken armed forces law. People have a right to appeal under number 18 in this act. People may appeal any punishment that has been handed to them. This can be because they may have been found guilty even though they are not. It provided the framework for the uniform services which they would have needed. Dictatorial. Very much like authoritarian, the leader will make all the decisions and questions will be asked by team members. Decisions will be very quick because nobody is questioning what they are meant to be doing. So they will just get on with the task that needs to be completed. An example of this has been used all the way back in the Second World War, and this is Adolf Hitler, who gave orders out to the people beneath him, and they were not questioned. Now, just talking about consultative. A leader makes sure they're problem with a certain amount of people, and they will not get everybody's opinions on it. This will delay decision making because the leader is asking a lot of different people for the decision. Help the leader make an informed decision. The reason for this is because they may not be as strong in a certain area, so they ask other people for advice in that area. People could feel that their time is wasted because their decisions, their opinions might not be taken seriously. They might not follow that up so diligently because it's time given their opinion. An example can be in emergency services, and there is a major incident, and they may need different people's opinions on how to deal with the incident. The Police Act 1997, Chapter 50. All police officers in the UK are subject to a special code of conduct within the police service. In this act, it follows up the pension scheme and maintains payment to people's pensions whilst they are in the police service. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1987, Part 9. This act gives police officers the power to stop and search if they have reasonable suspicion that they may be carrying something illegally. This act also sets up an independent police complaints commission, which helps the police have a high standard. I'll now be talking about participative. The leader has the final say on the decision, but this time he is asking for a wider range of people, so very much like consultative, they are asking for opinions, but they make the final decision. Team members feel valued because they are getting asked for their opinion and may even have an input on the final decision, which could raise team morale. Advice could be ignored, and this could lower team morale because, like consultative, they could waste their time giving their opinion. An example of where this may be used is law firms, because members of the law firm may put different opinions forward, but the final decision is made by the person in charge. And the Fire Service and Rescue Act 2004. This act was based on the views of the firefighters and the public. This shows that it is participative, as everyone will have an opinion. It has main functions, and this can be to fight fires, stop flooding and road traffic incidents. This act shows that they must save Any questions?
Are there any limits on people's authority in public services?
Yeah, because they can't go too far with their authority because that would blow a team round. Because if they're going so far and just getting like people beneath them to do everything, then they won't be doing their job properly.
So is there something that limits them? Something that tells them how far they can go?
That act, like they state how far you can go, like how much authority you can hold over people, and if they go over that, then they get musky for themselves.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what influences in the nature of our authority?
What'd you say, sorry?
Can you tell us what influences in the nature of our authority?
Influence.
Yeah.
Influence is where you may be influenced by a decision. Like if someone tells you to do something, it could be influence to do that decision because they've asked you to do it. Is that it? Is that everyone?
Anyone got any more questions?